Hello, this is Mark Vogel. I am here to do my accessibility evaluation assignment on two resources that I currently use in my brick and mortar classes that I could potentially transfer over to an online course in the future. The first thing I wanted to mention before beginning my evaluation was that this assignment was very eye-opening to me. Since I did not go through school with a vision or auditory impairments, creating documents that were accessible for these students was not something that I considered. I'm ashamed that this is not something that came across my mind. However, I am grateful for taking this course and now having a better understanding with how to create accessible documents and how students can benefit immensely from these modifications. Students enrolling in online courses might be doing this solely because of a vision or auditory impairment, and any way we can improve their learning experience will certainly make for a more enjoyable and meaningful experience. The first document I'm going to evaluate is the syllabus I use for my Algebra 1 course. This is the course that I would see myself teaching in the future. I use this printout syllabus that I would give every student, but now I actually convert it to a PDF that I post on Schoology for my students to refer to. One thing I would consider throughout this document, certain parts, is largening the font. So for these headings here, I made the fonts larger and bold so they kind of hit the topic, but toward the end here I have the expectations in the classroom. So obviously these could be online classroom expectations, how I expect them to contribute to the chats, expectations with deadlines on assignments, but maybe I could have in this checklist, which was also a benefit for the students, I could have had the words here like be prompt, be prepared, larger than what I have compared to the words below it describing that checkpoint. Also, after looking at the picture of the calculator here I know this is just for the syllabus, but it is evident that the picture is not the best of quality. In the future, I would certainly choose a better image with higher resolution. When incorporating this picture, I used a screenshot of the photo, which does not keep the high resolution of the image. I should have saved the image in its full resolution, then uploaded it using the insert function of Microsoft Word. Many of my algebra notes include graphs, and this feature would be very helpful to incorporate in these documents so my students can clearly see the information. Checkpoint 1.3, offering alternatives for visual information, is one of the UDL principles that I think I excel in and is fairly easy to incorporate in the math classroom. I have witnessed my students benefiting from seeing the content in different forms, whether it is an image, graph, or a video. Providing the content through different visuals can help all of my students gain a better understanding of the content. Up here to the top, some other features that the PDF also allows. You can see here I did a highlighting here. So on PDFs, if you go up to Tools, down to Annotate, it allows you to highlight certain things. So if the students want visually, they can actually see that better. I think for this document that I have with the black font on the white background is very appealing and easy for the students to follow. They can also, if they want to underline certain things, that's an option here. So if I want to do that for the students to really point some things out there. Also on the text on page 228 in the course textbook, in table 8.6, it mentions a screen magnifier. So I can also go up to Tools, and there's a magnifier where you can bring that right down for any students with vision impairments. This would be a great benefit for them to use to make the font appear much larger and magnified. So to finish off with the PDF here, the version of my MS Word that I used cannot produce a fully accessible PDF. I have MS Word 2011, and if I would in the future, I would certainly get Access 2010 to make this document more accessible for my students. The other option I have is to go through the steps shown on the Portland Community College website. So overall, finishing up the evaluation on this PDF, it was fairly accessible for my students to use, and I feel there are a few changes I can make in the future to benefit my students in an online setting. The resource that I have chosen is the exam that I give my students in the probability unit. We're required to give common assessments at my district, which is why this exam may appear a little lengthy. So here I'm just going to scroll through. So you see there's multiple choice at the beginning. Then it gets into the open-ended. So in all there is actually 8 pages. So this, I would say, is a fairly long exam, but that's what you get when you put a lot of teachers together to make a test. In an online setting, I would likely shorten this exam and add some sort of PBL, project-based learning opportunity, where the students can show their understanding through real-world experiences. I think that would make it much more engaging. However, when it comes to accessibility with this Word document, there are certainly areas for improvement, but I do think it is fairly accessible for most students. First, on the first page here, the yellow text can be, just looking at it now, it can be tough to see. I know even if you print it out, it might be kind of light, so that would be something I would certainly darken and improve in the future. As for some of the images, I would avoid using screenshots again, like I mentioned in the syllabus, and sometimes they come out kind of blurry. And the next one I was going to mention, so again, for those that I could fix, I would definitely save the images first rather than screenshotting, to keep a higher resolution to make it clearer for students with vision impairments. Another thing with the images I was going to mention is I would also incorporate alt text. This would be for the graphs to explain the content to students with vision impairments. So you'll be able to incorporate the alt text so that it can actually read to them and explain, well, here this graph means this. That way they can understand what they should be looking at. And then when it comes to the circle graph, so I'm looking down at this circle graph here at the spinner. The one thing I would, on page 4, I think students could benefit from seeing the actual color. So in this space right here, this 50%, I would show that it's actually yellow, maybe color in the background red, green, blue, and that's something I could easily do by printing it out and using a colored pencil, or maybe on Google somehow find a spinner that has actual colors incorporated from that. This might help visual learners from distinguishing which section represents which color. Also, to improve this document for auditory and this would be for actually visual impairments, would be to incorporate screen readers. On page 228 of the text on table 8.6, it incorporates the use of a screen reader. So what I would make sure to do would be word the text in a way that they can solve the problems and then it actually can be read to themselves. Another option would be to incorporate equation editor. In the future, for notes, I know a lot of my notes have equations in them. And any other document consisting of mathematical equations, I would try to use math type. This was a suggestion in the Module 6. This is a Microsoft Word Office plugin, and it is beneficial when writing equations because it can actually read the equations out loud for any students who have vision impairments. The actual equation editor in Word might struggle with this, and it might not read it the exact way you want it to. So the math type would be very beneficial for students with vision impairments. I mentioned earlier with the syllabus, checkpoint 1.3 offers a lot of visuals, and as you can see through here, throughout this test, there are many visuals. You got a stem and leaf plot, bar graph, circle graphs, tables, so that the students can see the content in different forms and see how it relates to the real world. Another checkpoint is checkpoint 3.3, guiding information, processing, visualization, and manipulation. This might not be shown exactly on this test, but when teaching the students, a lot of chunking is used so they can kind of focus on the little topics before putting it all together in a large exam. So I believe that both of my evaluations for these two resources, they are both fairly accessible for the students I have now. In an online setting, I think I would definitely use some more tools such as math type, screen readers, things that can actually read the information clearly out loud to the students, so they can have a better understanding on that if they have vision impairments. But again, overall, I think they are fairly accessible, but they do have some room for improvement.